A wonderful and a good morning to you all, members of the press. Sorry for being late because they always say on time is late. Welcome to the UZ SRC press briefing on the increments of fees that we witnessed at the University of Zimbabwe and the worsening and deepening plight of the students about the fees hikes. As students leaders, we have come here to detect a position that we have as the SRC. We're not here for discussions whatsoever, for hugs or kisses. We are here to detect, as student leaders, what should be done by the university, because it's our right as students, it's our right as citizens at large to make sure that education does not become a privilege, but a right to everyone. So first, let me acknowledge the presence of our SEC members. Though some are not here, and hopefully, we hope they will come. We have our Secretary for Transport, Tino Wimba Msengi. Then we have our spokesperson for the SRC, Tagunda Chinoda. We have our Secretary for Entertainment and Sports, Clayton Hove. Without further ado, allow me to defy the proceedings to the commander of the students, our president, who is going to take you through the background, detect what we as student leaders have decided to do. President.
Well, thank you, the main Secretary General of the Union. Good morning, members of the press, esteemed students, and the citizens of the nation. Today is a sad day for all of us. We come here saddened by the recent hike in fees at the University of Zimbabwe. On the 9th of September, we received very saddening and very bad news from the acting registrar, who also happens to be the dean of the students at the University of Zimbabwe, Dr. Munyaradzi Madambi, alerting students on the hike in university fees. Ladies and gentlemen, the proposed fees were hiked astronomically and irrationally. The new fees structure represents a hike of more than 600% compared to the last semester. The students from the Faculty of Science paid around 60,000 Zimbabwean dollars in the last semester, and today they are being compelled to pay a staggering amount of 487,000 Zimbabwean dollars. Students from the Faculty of Veterinary Science were paying 67,000 Zimbabwean dollars last semester, and as a result of the recent fees hike, they are having to pay 602,000 Zimbabwean dollars. Every student from every faculty is suffering from the fees hike. The increase in the university fees is absurd, given that the majority of our parents barely having the means to pay for our tuition education. Most of them are civil servants who are earning peanuts every month. Some of them work in the informal sector, earning even lesser given the harsh economic prevailing conditions. Our parents simply do not have the means to pay for the unimaginable fees that have been pegged by the institution. What is more shocking is the fact that the fees even increased in US dollar terms with no valid reason supporting the move. I would like to confirm, as the president of the Student Representative Council, the SRC, that we never agreed to this proposal of fees hikes. Our position as the SRC is very clear: nothing for students without the students. Nothing should be decided for the students without the students being involved in the decision-making process. The administration at the University of Zimbabwe seems to be failing to appreciate the fact, since they are always playing hide and seek when they want to decide on institutional fees. The fees pegging process is always covert at the UZ, and this is totally unacceptable. The SRC should always be involved in every decision-making process because we represent the students. And by the fact of representing the students, it is not a privilege that we have been given by the university administration, but it is actually a right that has been placed in us by the students. The Constitution of Zimbabwe under Section 75 obliges the state to provide for basic state-funded education, including adult education. What we are simply asking for is this right to be provided for. These astronomical fees do nothing but to prohibit and infringe us from getting this basic human right. Education is a human right, and it is a right that stands as a strong pillar to nation building today, tomorrow, and in the unimaginable future. As SRC, these are our demands. 1, we demand to see a swift move by the University of Zimbabwe administration to denounce the new fees structure with immediate effect. Number 2, we want the administration to open up a platform for dialogue with the Student Representative Council, representing the biggest stakeholders at the institution, the students, so that the fees and its structure be revised to come up with affordable tuition fees for the students. In this regard, we are proposing an amount below 200,000 Zimbabwean dollars to be precise. Number 3, we would also want to see the central government coming in and subsidize our education so that it can be cheap to get a degree in Zimbabwe. We do understand the current economic disaster, but Section 75 of the National Constitution of Zimbabwe clearly guarantees a basic state-funded education, and 200,000 Zimbabwean dollar is way too much and a violation to our right to education. In the future, we want to see the central government providing students with free education. Number 4, the fees should be lower than 200,000 Zimbabwean dollars for all faculties. This right to education is provided for under Section 75 of the National Constitution. We are going to be submitting the petition to the Parliament today, compelling this other branch of government to intervene and stop this disaster, which is not in the interest of the entire nation at large. We managed to collect more than 4,000 signatures from the students over this weekend so that our petition can be accepted by Parliament. I carry these signatures with my hand, and I wish to see the Parliament to act swiftly so that the students can get back to their learning calendar immediately. As of today, I would like to notify all parents who have their children learning at the University of Zimbabwe to kindly delay making tuition payments, which has been proposed by the institution, until a new fees structure has been revised. Engagement with the University of Zimbabwe administration is still ongoing, and we hope that we will come up with an amicable solution soon. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, I thank you for your time, and I will, by this verge, open the time to just take few questions.
Sorry, before we take questions, we just want to acknowledge the presence of our SRA chairperson. Our SRC is divided into two, that is, we have SEC and SRA. SEC, which is the Executive Council, and SRA, faculty representatives that are based in faculties. So we just want to acknowledge the presence of our faculty chair. And in taking questions, we know that you are bubbling with questions, and our president and the SEC, we are ready to answer. So be free, ask questions. One of the members here will take the questions. Thank you. The floor is now open. Yes. So what you do, just introduce yourself and tell us where you are coming from.
Yeah, in terms of the media house.
In terms of the media house.
Is it true that SG Masiwa,
Yes.
you are the one who went to present the SRC, instead of Alan Chukwu, the president, when the peace was, when the peace discussion had been discussed?
Well, in terms of you saying when the first session of the Fees Revision Committee was done, I think it is an error because there's been never more than one sessions that have been set by the University of Zimbabwe administration together with the SRC in terms of the fees revision strategy. So what happened is like the day when the meeting was announced for the fees revision, that was the day when we were at the orientation for the Part 1 students who just joined us in August. And by the virtue of me having a presentation that I was supposed to be making by myself to the Part 1 students, I delegated Munashi Masiwa to represent the SRC so that he can be able to attend that meeting and also provide the students' position in terms of those fees increment. And again, it is very saddening that we have the Dean of Students, Dr. Munyaradzi Madambi, who is now lying to the students that our Secretary General, Mnashe Masiwa, approved the fees. Let me tell you this bluntly, there is no such position. Mr. Madambi, the Dean of Students, was not in the meeting when that meeting was conducted. He was away for another program. So it's very saddening to get any order telling student lies that the SRC Secretary General approved the fees, which is not what is on the table. If you can go and get the minutes from the administration, you get to see it, that there is no position that has been taken by Mnashi Masiwa as far as what Mr. Munyaradzi Madambi is claiming.
So to buttress that, I think Mr. President is clear. We were called 5 minutes
Before the meeting
commenced, and they said you should come to the meeting, we want one representative. Then the president, because he had a presentation on the orientation day, what he managed to do, he delegated me to go to the meeting, and I went to the meeting, and we never agreed with the administration. We want to make this clear to the students. We never agreed on that nonsensical and complete madness that the administration took. So we are clear on that, and we are not going to move.
So I'm Dylan Zenga representing Street High. So yesterday the protests were dismissed at the University of Zimbabwe, saying that there were talks that were being held with between the Student Representative Council and the UZ admin. So do you have any update for us as to what was discussed yesterday?
Okay, let me respond to that question. Yes, we were in that meeting where we discussed, we deliberated on some certain issues, saying from the presentation from our president, saying the government must have something that they can add to the institution such that they can quench the deficit or quench the gap, which our Dean of Students said there was a drop of 30% from last semester. So we proposed that, and also we talked on some issues to do with things that can help students to get to help themselves rather, so that they can have or they can pay affordable fees. So on that note, they said today around 2 we are going to have a meeting with them, hearing their position on how they can help us or how they can reduce the fees. So we are waiting for them to respond to us.
Well, maybe to just do a voice over the issue that our Secretary for Information has been saying, I think the institution should not make a plea to the government so that they can subsidize the education. It is a matter of fact that in the 2022 budget, the Ministry of Finance allocated 4 billion to the University of Zimbabwe. In the supplemented budget of 2022, another 3 billion has been also made allocated to the institution. So It is a worrying position that the institution just hike the fees from Norway, because education is already subsidized by the government. More so, the lecturers are not paid out of the tuition fee that we pay to the institution. They are paid out of the government coffers. So we would want to understand the position of the administration as to what's the rationality, what's the ground that is actually making them to just hike the fees with that ferocity extent. So in terms of making a plea to the government, I think we can probably make a plea to increase, but the 7,000 that has been already made and that has been already sent to the institution is enough to subsidize the education for everyone at the institution.
From Sly Media TV. I wanted to ask that what if your petition is not yet and the institution does not decrease the fees? What are you going to do about it?
Well, we have a series of plans. And one of the plans, you have already seen it yesterday at the institution. The second plan is the petition that we are going to submit not only to the parliament. We are submitting to the parliament, we are submitting to the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education. We are also submitting it to the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission. After that, if it fails, then we also have another series of plans that we are going to execute to make sure that the fees is reduced. I tell you and I promise you, fees is going to be reduced whether they like it or not. It is a position that is clear from the students. There is no position that can be made by the institution without the consultation of the students, who are the main stakeholders of the institution. We are very clear on that one. The fees is going to be reduced or the institution is going to be closed.
So on that, if dialogue fails, demonstrations prevails. We are not afraid of anything. We are going to force them to reduce the fee, because they are jeopardizing the future of the country. Because they say education builds the future. Education creates the future, and health protects it. So if there's no education, definitely our future is doomed. The country is at stake. So we're going to make sure that we employ whatever means necessary or unnecessary.
To add on that, this then reminds me of what Nelson Mandela said in 1961, when he said there is a time in each and every nation where we are left with no other option to submit or to fight. But ours as students, our position, we are not fighting, but we are pleading to the institution that here our plea as students, our parents are suffering, our students are not in a position to pay such fees. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Legislator, the news spot. In considering below $200,000 fees and disregarding a pegged 500 plus amount, have you considered the implications all that will have in terms of the standard of service the institution will also provide to the institution and the general prices internationally? And also, have you also sought maybe to create an agreement in terms of a payment plan, considering that this amount on the black market is around $500? Have you sought maybe a payment plan to see to it that you come to terms?
Okay, thank you very much. With that fee, which is 500% and above increment, payment plans are out of question. We can start talking of payment plans if they reduce the fee. That's number one. Number two, I heard your question. You said, are we considering the fact that the institution needs to run and so forth? Telling you right now, all the directors at the University of Zimbabwe were given ISUs. ISUs cost how much?
We'll get the budget from them, but most probably they will lie to us.
And we have more than 20 directors at the university. So do the math alone. So we are saying the institution have the money. The institution, together with the central government and the chancellor of the university, they can subsidize the university, and the university can run. And it's just a clear understanding from a layman's point. How can a civil servant who is being paid less than 100,000 say you must pay 1.2 million at a state-funded university? That's completely nonsensical. If we go to Botswana, there's free education in some universities, cheap education in some universities. Why here in Zimbabwe? So we are clear on our position that is 200,000 RTGS is the maximum that they can charge to students, because most of us, our parents are struggling. The state of the economy is in a quagmire. We all know that. So we should always be clear on our position. That is 200,000 is the maximum. We are done.
And again, just to buttress over the issue of the Isuzus that has been bought for the directors, the institution should try the best that it could to avoid some of the unnecessary costs that it incurs. You'll probably realize that among as many other examples, this last week Friday, when they decided to increase the fees, the institution donated a lot of things, t-shirts, buses, to go to Seke, where there was a program of our dear esteemed First Lady, Amemnangabu. So it's a problem. It's a circus that has to be addressed. You can't take the money out of the coffers from the students' fund and go and support other programs that are of no benefit to the student movement. It's high time that the institution, by whatever way, necessary or unnecessary, has to stop whatever that is doing to sponsor activities that doesn't speak directly to the academics of the students at our great institution. We are very clear on that one.
And if they try to send police again, first, academically, some of them, they are not qualified to be at the University of Zimbabwe. We are going to send them away. We are clear. We are clear on that. Yes.
I understand the SRC is, consists of two components. That is supposed to and I understand that your BP is supporting them.
Yes.
What is this thing considering now? If you try speaking
Okay, on that note, we were together yesterday.
People are also now saying that these Zinasu people are now politicizing the fees hikes since there are rumors that
We are not politicizing anything. If you go to your portal, whether he is a COSO member or whatsoever, the fee is the same. So there is no politics here. All those you are saying here, politicizing and so forth. Either you are from Zikoso or you are from Zinaso, you know that we cannot afford this.
Are you, by the way, seeing anyone who is wearing Zinaso t-shirt here?
Yeah.
No, my question is, what is the stand of your...
Is our dear esteemed SRA member coming from Zinaso? He's from Zikos. The problem that we are fighting is not union-based. The problem that we are facing at the institution is affecting all the students, both from Zinas, both from Zikos, both from independent, who have been supporting independent candidates, and those who are not even aligned to whatever student activism union.
Okay, to add on again, SRC doesn't only consist of Zinas and Zikos. We also have independent candidates. So it's not a Zinas or a Zikos thing. This is for the students, yes, not for the union.
And let me buttress on that. We represent students. We are student representative council, and we represent students with dexterity without looking at political background. Thank you.
And also,
and again, over the issues to do with union representatives, I'm sure Zinasu, Zikos, whatsoever union that you may think of, yes, its own structures that runs those unions. It's also we don't even by any way run unions. We run the students' union that consists of all the students that are actually coming out from all the unions that we are talking about.
Any other questions? Any other questions before we conclude? Okay, so I think our president can just give us some parting shots before we close the presser.
Well, again, just as closing remarks, we have also seen that yesterday we have about 14 students that have been arrested by the police and they've been detained at Avondale police station. Our message is clear. The police, I know some of them might be here. Please go tell your bosses, we need those students to be released as a matter of urgent effect. Again, we have been told that I have been calling the officer in charge of Avondale Police Station earlier in the morning, and it said that the students are going to appear in court tomorrow at 8:15 at Rotten Row. So we urge all the students, leaders, students, just ordinary students, to just stand in solidarity with all the other 14 students who have been arrested or are being incarcerated for a genuine cause. They've been fighting a genuine cause so that the fees, not for themselves, but for all of the students at the institution, will be reduced. So our message is clear. Tomorrow, we are going to Rotten Row, Magistrate Court, to offer solidarity with our brothers and sisters who have been arrested yesterday. And to those who want to go, we are offering free transport, and we should make sure that we should get at least 500 students to go to the court and show solidarity. It's not a cause for those 14 students, but it's the cause for all the students that are at the institution of the University of Zimbabwe. We thank you for that.
And all securities who have been following us together with the president, watch out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.